I'm going glasses free today.
Have you
Don't
got...
waste content like that without the camera rolling.
No, it's rolling, David.
Oh, is it?
We've got that. Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. And today is my 4th in the series of Lauren and the Babes. And the babe I've got with me today is my sister babe. This is my sister Charlotte. She's been in some videos before. Have you always enjoyed filming videos? You quite like it, don't you?
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
You had your haircut recently?
No. It's blunt cut, means it looks cut at all times.
It looks nice. Very much suits you.
Thank you.
Today we are going to be talking about our female role models. I always leave that till the end as a little teaser. But we're going to be talking about primarily, well actually this fits in very well because this week has been Mental Health Awareness Week. Charlotte and I have both suffered from anxiety in the past, haven't we, Charlotte? But I mean...
Currently as well.
Currently?
Not right this
feeling, or you're
moment, no.
feeling... Because
yeah.
I have, even in good periods, I still have little mini wobbles.
Yeah.
So at the moment I'm going through a very good period, but I'm still susceptible to mini wobbles. But I feel like Charlotte and I both deal with our anxiety in different ways. Charlotte, I would say, and please chip in, Charlotte, if you think I'm putting words in your mouth.
I don't know.
But I would say you deal with it in a very active way.
Yeah.
Exercise is something that really helps you.
To start with.
Didn't to start with. No. Whereas I'm much more about sort of self-care, have a bath, chill out, bit of quiet time. Yeah. Whereas you like to exercise. So what sort of exercise makes you feel brilliant even without the anxiety? What sort of exercise makes you feel...
This morning I went for it, like I go for jogs a lot, and I used to hate running when I was younger and used to say, oh, I can't run, I can't breathe, I can't do it properly. And my husband is quite...
My husband
Stuart is a massive runner, and just before our wedding I wanted to, you know, get fit and get wedding ready, and so I started getting into running a bit. And I first started by going to park runs, and I did it as a bit of a joke really, as my friend Alice and her husband Ashley, he does it a lot, running as well, and we kind of said, oh, we're going to run with you one week, and then we started to and just kind of walked and run, and now I've absolutely got the bug and I adore running. Well, when I say running, jogging.
Yeah, I think with running, it's definitely something you have to build yourself up to. When I started 100%. Running, and I shit you not, I could not run for 10 seconds. Like, it was so hard. And then I mean, I'm not at the level of running as you are, but I got to the point where I could run for 12 minutes, which sounds like nothing, but when you can't run for 30 seconds, running for 12 minutes is unbelievable.
Yeah. I think that's why I love park runs so much, because you're only in competition with yourself, and it's so uplifting, and it's just I love nature. I do adore being outside, so it's really nice to have sort of fresh air. Even when it's really cold, I still enjoy that. I'm not so keen on the rain and when it's really sort of gungy and stuff, but you know, it's still nice. But I think where park run is a Saturday morning, so it's at 9 o'clock, you're done and home often by 10. And if you've had a really rubbish week and you feel a bit wobbly, or if you're just exhausted, or if you just need a boost, it massively does. And now, not like this morning, I didn't go to park run, but I've lived near the beach, so I went for a jog along the beach this morning, and it's just, I love it. It really clears my head.
Yeah.
It really makes me feel better. But also at the same time of doing running, when I started it the year before last, I also started doing HIITs. And
high intensity interval training.
And there's a guy called Joe Wicks, who again I adore.
Small time guy, Joe Wicks.
Massively love him. He does just like random 15-minute ones, 20-minute ones, sometimes like 5-minute ab things.
It's very like slottable into your life, isn't it?
Absolutely. And sometimes from work, I'll get home from work and I'll have my tights on and I'll have like a strappy top on and I'll do it in that, because I can't be bothered to get changed.
Slip sliding all over the place.
Yeah, but it's part of the workout. So I think that has also been a massive thing. So those are like the exercise thing. And I used to go to a class on a Tuesday and a Thursday as well, but those aren't on anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, David used to go with Charlotte. But I don't know, you're only doing it for yourself. You're only in competition with yourself, or you're only supporting and pushing or only pushing yourself, like you're making your own goals. But I just love it. Something like park run as well, where you can be in and if you only want to be in competition with yourself, you've only got yourself to better, so you've only got to match the time you did last week, or try and push it for a little bit more. That's quite
soothing for my mind. So that sort of thing, targets and stuff really work for me in terms of mindfulness. So things like, I read once that if you read for 6 minutes, it really calms you down and brings your blood pressure down. Well, that's a wonderful thing for me to know, because now I think, oh well, I feel a bit wobbly, I'll just sit here and read for 6 minutes, and before I know it, 15 minutes have gone and I feel fine. So I feel like targets in terms of
definitely
doing something, or just thinking, oh, I'll just do this 15-minute Joe Wicks thing, and then by the time, and telling yourself I'll feel better after this, 9 times out of 10 you do feel better after this.
Or I don't tell myself I'll feel better, because I think that's too much. Like, I went to see a therapist early last year, and one of the best analogies she gave me ever, and I do this a lot with school,
and I know what you're going to say, and I really like it.
It's absolutely brilliant. She said that if you're a plumber and you go go to work with a toolbox and you've got a leaking radiator and your toolbox is empty, you can't do anything.
No, you can't.
You can't fix it. You can't do anything. Can't do anything. She said, so you need to fill your toolbox up, and that's kind of the same with anxiety, you know, all sort of mental health sort of support with that sort of link. And she said that you just need to build up your toolbox. And I feel, and I say it all the time to the kids at school, to my friends, to anyone who listens.
Even knowing that is something that will make you feel better.
Yeah, because it clicks. It made me go, oh my god, I've been feeling anxious, I've been suffering from anxiety, because it's really started, I think, if you think, when I moved into my first house, like 2012.
Absolutely. So but you said you felt like it had been in the post for a while, like you feel like it had been on its way for a while, but when you moved in, so when Charlotte moved in, just to set it up, when Charlotte moved into her new house, her husband, but fiance, or boyfriend at the time, as if you're with somebody else now. Stuart, he was working in the setup of the London 2012 Olympics. We spent a long time away from this house that you'd just newly moved into,
and then he was, but I don't think that was just the reason.
No, but also it was very quiet there. You were one of the first roads that they'd built, and then they were sort of moving into that, so it was a really quiet place.
I think there was a lot happening in my life. Once I got a new job.
So I think a lot of build-up.
I've always been a worry. I've always I think this is really nuts, but this is really nuts. When I was younger, before I went to bed at night, I had a little teddy. I don't think I've even told you this. I don't know what they were called, but you collected them, and it was a little teddy, and it held a cake. So what I used to do,
I don't even remember that guy.
It was tiny. I think I got it from a boot fair or something.
What, like soft or?
Yeah, it was soft, but had hard arms, and so it was like this, and it was holding a little cake. And I used to pretend to feed all my toys, all like the ornaments.
I can so believe that of you. Just in your head thinking, this is what Cinderella would do.
If I forgot, I'd feel terrible, and I'd think, oh my god, I haven't done that. I have to do it again. So when I look back,
that's like OCD almost.
When I look back at like things, and I think it wasn't so much OCD. I think it was more that I've let something down. And it's not real, but as a child, obviously, that was really important to me. And I just think when I look back now and see all these little things, but now I look at them as they're just things, because I'm overly conscientious, and I overly care, and I overly worry. And it's good to have all those things. You know, if you didn't worry, you wouldn't care. If you weren't conscientious, and you know, that's not great.
So I read somewhere,
it's about getting the happy.
So I read somewhere, I think it was on Twitter this week, with a lot of people talking about mental health awareness. Someone said that they've learned to, and I don't think I'm at this point, or I'm not sure whether I'll ever be at this point, but they've learned to love their anxiety. So when they feel their anxiety,
I know it'll never go, and I'm not. I don't have issues with that. I used to be like, oh, why won't it just go? Why can't I just remove
I'm going to feel like this forever. That's what I thought.
But I just think it just shows I care.
But so they've learned to love their anxiety, and they've said that they use it as a reminder that that's their body looking out for them, telling them, you're doing too much at the moment, you need to take a break, you need to do that. And I feel like that is a really good way to look at it. I don't know if I'll ever think, oh great, I'm laying in my bed crying my eyes out for no reason, I love this, just checking in on myself. But I do feel like that's a good way to look at it, and with more people saying that, that's because when you first started feeling like that, I hadn't felt like that before. But when I was talking to you about people I knew that had, one of your first things were like, I mean, it's very isolating, isn't it? You feel like you're the only person in the world that's ever felt like this, and you don't
not in a selfish way, more in a like, what's wrong with me,
and how am I ever going to deal with this? And I think when it happened to me, if I hadn't have seen you feeling like that, I would have thought I was fucking dying. So I can only imagine what you felt like.
And I've had this exact same conversation with a student at school this week and said how, you know, don't you, and that was another thing that the lady I used to see said, was that she would say, if you have a panic attack, you're not going to die. Like, you don't.
No one's ever died of a panic attack.
Yeah. And I used to think when I was having a panic attack, I was going to die, which is why they were worse. And we have loads of girls and boys at school that have panic attacks around this kind of season and when they're going into sort of GCSE season and that's one of the things I always say to them. I say, this is going to sound really weird, but I think I might be able to tap into you, that you aren't going to die because you're having a panic attack. And they do smile because they know, and they laugh, and it's that break that immediately
someone got admitted to,
I
can't remember, we were watching a TV programme and someone got admitted because they thought they were having a heart attack, and it wasn't, it was a panic attack.
Yeah.
So like, these things can be super serious and like feel like you're going to die, like, but you're not going to. So if you can just get a handle on that.
Yeah, another thing is I use an app called Calm.
Yeah, you love that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you love that.
But that was a bit, I had to break it. One of the girls at work always jokes with me about it, about how I got obsessive with it, because you track, and that is something I think that they should get rid of actually, is that it tracks how many days you've done it. And then if you don't do it, it's like, and then the next, it's like, oh, you've got to, so I was getting up to like 300-day run, well done, and I think, oh my god, I can't break it now.
Because like the lottery,
then I'll be the most anxious person in the entire world. And actually I don't think that's good.
But I think that for some people that would work, because they're like, oh well, all I should do is keep doing this.
But it's not, you can't remove it. But I just, anyway, that's something little. But yeah, so Calm, like Headspace, which is another great app, but Calm I love more so because it's just 3 minutes sometimes of just doing a body scan.
Or I love that body scan thing, and the fact that he doesn't tell you to block the noise out.
Calm is a woman. Yeah, and it says Headspace is a guy, and he says, you know, let it happen, and if it goes, it comes. Let it come and go. And I think that's the main thing when you first suffer from anxiety. When you first look at things you should do, you sit there and you think, oh my god, I'm supposed to be meditating, but there's loads of stuff going on in my head. Oh my god, I'm failing. Where it's not. It's not just like about what suits you. Like, I always say to people, like, running definitely helps me. And something when I went onto medication the first time round for anxiety, and the doctor said to me, he said do star jumps. He said, as soon as you feel like you've got a panic attack coming, or that you're having a really big wave of anxiety, do star jumps, because it helps with the chemical imbalance, and it knocks off that
adrenaline almost, or something,
endorphins. And he said jogging on the spot and things like that, which is why I think exercise is really supportive for me. But
so when I've mentioned this before, I filmed a video last year just before Mental Health Awareness Week. I'll link the video down below. But one thing that I've got sort of like a mental checklist. So if I'm ever feeling anxious, I check with myself, first of all, do I need a wee?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I just need a wee, and sometimes that links in with like feeling panicked because I need the wee, and can I go to the toilet?
Sure, body.
Yeah. Then am I too hot or am I too cold? Or am I hungry or am I thirsty?
Do you need some sugar?
Am I really tired?
Some sugar.
Am I really tired? And then once I've addressed those, that's when I sort of think, all right, well, something needs to be done about this. And then if it's like an ongoing thing, if I feel like it for a few days or weeks, do I need to make a GP appointment and get back on medication? Because that's something I'm completely not afraid to do anymore. I think the first time I went to the GP, I was like, oh God, this is going to be awful. And how do I explain how I'm feeling? And now I'm like, I felt like this before. I know this medication works for me. I'd like to sort of get that back on. Or is there smaller things that can be done? For instance, like, have I recently had a cup of tea that could potentially have had caffeine in it, and things like that? Or is there something I'm worried about? And something that I know, although our anxiety they sort of manifest differently, I know something we both have is that if we're excited about something,
that
definitely. Really, and overlaps into me.
Sickness.
Something that neither of us have had checked out, but I'm pretty certain is probably happening, is that I think we've got some form of SAD, seasonal affective disorder.
Oh yeah, I wonder where you were going to go with that.
Neither of us have had this checked out. I think we've both. Oh, I just kicked that.
Yeah.
I think we've both got seasonal affective disorder because I definitely during seasons I always feel worse, and it's things
I've
that
got a remedy for that.
Oh, have you? And I can't attribute it to things like it's. Like once I've gone through my checklist and things like that, I'm like, there's nothing else. But also, winter comes in just before Christmas, which is always a really big excitement for me. And last year, actually, I didn't feel like it, but for years before, I felt really worried and sick about Christmas because I'm so excited and I've got myself so worked up that I've got myself into a fluttery panic about it. So we do both get that, but telling yourself that, it's something that makes you feel so much better.
I don't right now, but sometimes when we come around here and that we're all here, I feel wobbly. And I don't know, and I know it won't be because I feel anxious because I'm here or with any of you lot. It is because I'm excited because it's something nice and something to look forward to. All my friends, we all talk about having an occasional sickness.
What about you got a big plate of cheese in front of you?
No, cheese is my... that can sort me out.
So what's your remedy for potential seasonal affective?
I think you've just said it yourself, and that's why you've had it. One of the girls at work, a friend, she adores the winter, absolutely adores it and loves the darkness and everything like that. So whenever I felt wobbly, I said that she was like my comfort. So I'd be like, right, talk to me about why it's so lovely, talk to me about why it's so lovely. And you know, you said that you didn't feel it this year, but you think about how excited you were for being cozy, teas. I think it's because you've turned it on its head. And rather than thinking, oh, I feel weird at this time of the year, instead you've thought, oh, I love being cozy. And that's what I tried to do. And I did still have days, especially when it's grey, it really does make me have a muzzy head, but I go and run and it really pushes it out of me. And it doesn't completely, and sometimes I will still feel a bit wobbly.
You can buy like special lights for it as well.
Sad lights. Well, if it's a lot of places places in London, I'm sure everywhere, but I do know from somebody that their company, that's part of it, they have each person has a sad lamp.
I would be interested in trying to see if it made a difference.
One of my friends has got one.
Oh really?
Jenny's got one.
I wonder how.
She swears by it.
Yeah,
it's really huge. It's like
we've got it's like this thing light on us at the moment, but yeah, I just feel like it's unusual, isn't it? How we got the same genes in us, but we feel so.
I think it's like modern day as well. I think it's brilliant that we all talk about it.
Oh,
now.
Absolutely. Number one thing that makes you feel better is talking about it.
Being a teacher, you could never ever tell your kids that you would suffer from anxiety or anything like that. But you tell them if you had asthma,
or if you'd broken your leg.
So I think sod it. I tell them all. I don't. And there's a couple of male teachers that do now.
Yeah, because it's someone for them to think, oh well, this person has it and they're functioning. They've got a job. They've got. This.
That's how I look at people. Like I compare myself to people a lot, which often is quite a negative thing, but can be a really positive thing as well. Because sometimes I'll think, well, they're doing all right, so I can do that.
If you've got any questions, do ask below, because you can reply on those. Oh, yeah, so you can reply. So if you've got any questions to ask myself or Charlotte, then please do. I mean, I don't know how good we are for top tips or anything.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking from my own experience.
When I was, when we were at secondary school, there was a poster that was on all the walls, and it says, "A problem shared is a problem halved," and that is how I always feel.
As well.
Oh no, I've only ever seen. I don't remember her saying that. I've only ever seen it in the.
Nan always used to say that.
But I think it's a lovely thing, and I think it's very, very helpful. But now we're going to move on to our role models. Now you've got two.
I've got loads.
Well, you've got loads. But we'll start with yours, and we'll start with the one that's quite relevant for today. So today is the royal wedding. Prince Harry married Meghan Markle, and your role model is Meghan Markle.
Well, because I've never seen Suits, so I knew nothing about her at all. And the only time I started to sort of find out about her was when she did the interview, or when they both did the interview after they got engaged, and it was really lovely. So I looked into her a little bit more, and this story's come up a lot. But one thing that she did when she was really young was she watched an advert, and they showed this on TV recently. She watched an advert on TV, and it was the washing up liquid fairy advert, and she said to her parents that she thought it was really sexist. And so her dad said to her, why don't you write to them and tell them your views? Or why don't you write and tell them views? So she wrote to Hillary Clinton, and they stopped the advert.
I did not know that.
And honestly, she was about, I'm going to get this wrong, but she was about 9 or 10.
I did not know that.
So yeah, and it just goes to show how, you know, and that's not one of that's one of many things that she's done.
Well,
she's really
something I noticed today when watching the
empowering.
footage, I was very much like, I'm not going to watch the royal wedding. I've got no interest. I had it on about 10 minutes. To be fair, Idris Elba hooked me in. He was arriving and I was like, oh, David, Idris Elba's there. But there was a lot of things that they were talking about, and not even like directly like, oh, Meghan's done this because she's a feminist, but like things like the woman who made her wedding dress is the first female director of Givenchy, and those sort of things she would have picked herself. And a lot of the charities that they've asked for no wedding gifts and for charities, and one of the charities they had a spokesperson there, which is about menstrual health in India, where they don't have access to sanitary products and things like that. And I think for that to be a charity that is attributed to a royal wedding, when previously periods and anything like that has been like, oh, don't bloody talk about it, just put one.
Don't bloody talk about
don't bloody talk about it. Now that's attributed to that. I feel like she's a brilliant role model. So something else I heard today when I was watching is that she's mixed race, and when she was an actress, she was told you'll have to cover your freckles up. No one will employ you if you've got freckles.
I was looking at her freckles. I don't think they were ever so cute.
Her makeup today was beautiful,
and she's the image of her mum. Her mum has the same.
She hadn't covered her freckles up, and I was like, yes, don't conform.
So
no one will employ you if you've got your freckles out. And she was like, oh. So she didn't have her freckles covered up. So yeah, so Meghan, I think, a very worthy role model to have.
And also, I'm sure. And also, I'm looking forward to seeing more things that she's a part of.
So mine is one that I've mentioned many times before on this channel, and she is one from my childhood and probably my first sort of like exposure to feminism, and it's Geri Halliwell, who was Ginger Spice in the Spice Girls. So I grew up at the time of the Spice Girls, and I feel very, very fortunate, and I imagine you probably do feel as well, that we grew up in a time when we had the Spice Girls. So Geri Halliwell, so I mean the whole band were about girl power, equality, girls are as good as boys, you don't have to, you don't have to conform to whatever. So there was sort of like a sporty one and a posh one and a baby one and a scary one, and it was just everything. And it was just so empowering as a young person to be around that. But Geri Halliwell in particular is someone that I just feel like she just really pushed the girl power agenda. And recently I saw a video of them having, they were dressed up as schoolgirls, and they're having a photo shoot done. And one of the photographers tries to take a photo up one of the skirts. I just can't remember which one it is, but Victoria, Geri and Mel B are like, why did you do that? And he's like, well, you're dressed like that anyway, it doesn't matter. And they were like, it doesn't matter what we're dressed like, you do not take a photo up someone's skirt. And I thought, that is something that people are battling now still, but when you were that age, you just wouldn't have said anything about that, would you? At that, like, to that time, when they're an up and coming girl band, they need to get everyone on side. Like, good on them for calling someone out, and to be surrounded by hundreds of thousands of photographers, and then to be like, no, thank you, get this man thrown out. Like, they just embody what it's like.
It's very strong.
Yeah, and they make you feel strong and they make you feel good. And was there like songs before that girls could bounce around to, and they're not all about like, oh, I'll get the man in the end, and like love songs before, which have been like that. They're like,
my milkshake brings all the boys
if
to
you
the
want to be my lover, you gotta get with my friends and things and fun stuff, and just and also those songs haven't aged at all. I quite often listen to the Spice Girls and they could be out now. So yeah, Geri Halliwell, but the Spice Girls as a general. And then what's your last one, Charlotte?
Oh, I just think I adore Emma Watson. I think she's brilliant. She is, she's just fantastic, and I think she's incredibly, I think she's a fantastic role model for all ages, but particularly young girls, to look up to someone who is smart and enjoys being smart and sort of pushes forward with her intelligence. But yeah, I just think she's absolutely fantastic, brilliant role model. I love many of her films. Percival Wallflower, one of them is my all-time favourite.
Yeah, I think in the same way that I look at the Spice Girls, I feel like young girls are very lucky to be growing up where she is a representation of what you could believe, and like pushing like book clubs.
But it's
and
all about equality. That's what I really like with her.
And she's very eloquent,
really inclusive.
I saw an interview of her and Dan Stevens where she had been she'd been told, because she modelled for Harper's Bazaar or Vogue or something, and she had her top off, or she had her tits out or something, and people had said to her, you can't be a feminist if you modelled for Vogue and you had your tits out. And she said, I don't know, like, feminism's about equality for man and between a man, like for a man and a woman. It's nothing to, I don't know what my tits have got to do with it. And I was like, fucking hell, yeah, like that's, she just gets it down to the bare bones.
She really pushes. That's like the whole he for she thing is massively what she pushes, is that it's everyone's role to be part of equality, and you know, that's what I think she's fantastic about. But I have seen that interview as well.
Very good. She's very good. So yeah, so there are some role models. There are some just some thoughts and tips on anxiety and mindfulness. As I said, if you've got any questions for myself or Charlotte about anxiety or mindfulness, or just like what you're having for dinner, we'll tell you that now. We're having burgers, but with roast potatoes.
USA meets UK.
Merging. Fusion food. I think this is what they meant when they said fusion food. Roast potatoes and burgers. So yes, thank you very much.
And we're having cheese after.
We're having cheese afterwards, but David's having a profiterole dessert. And we've got some delicious chutney. Did you bring any like vessels to put it on?
I did. I bought some oat
crackers. Nice. So yeah, that's it from us. Thank you so much for being here. Shall we hug each other like this? Thanks, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.